Well, let's begin today, as we have for the last several days, with a look at the latest in what's happening in the Middle East and North Africa. Now, for the last 8 days, protests on the streets of cities in several of these countries have become widespread and, in some cases, violent. Most who have come out to protest say they're protesting against an anti-Muslim film made in the United States that insults the Prophet Muhammad. Now, one of the major events today, a rally in Lebanon planned by Hezbollah. Here's RT correspondent Paula Sleer with more.
Tens of thousands of protesters have taken to the southern Lebanese city of Tyre. This is in line with a call that went out earlier by the Hezbollah leader Hassan Nasrallah, where he called for his supporters to show their anger in their fists, in their shouts and in their faces. He says that this film is the worst attack ever on Islam. Now, so far the demonstration is peaceful. It follows a demonstration on Monday in which more than 100,000 Hezbollah supporters took to the southern suburbs of Beirut. Now, Nasrallah has called for staggered protests throughout this week. We understand that the next protest will be on Friday in the eastern Lebanese city of Baalbek. But at the same time, we are hearing reports of an American food chain, KFC, that for the second time has been attacked in Lebanon. Now, this comes on Wednesday as clashes erupt here between Palestinian protesters and Israeli security forces. At least 20 people were injured when the clashes erupted near a border crossing in East Jerusalem. The protesters threw fire bombs as well as stones at the security forces. They responded with tear gas and rubber bullets. We're also seeing, again, protests in the Pakistani city of Karachi. Here, hundreds of protesters have stormed a barricade around the U.S. consulate building. We're seeing the same kind of banners, the same kind of anti-American rhetoric, most of it focusing on calls for the American ambassador to Pakistan to be expelled. Now, hundreds of protesters also took to the Indonesian city of Medan. Here, they are calling for the United States to be punished for allowing such a movie to be made. Also on Wednesday, there's a lot of attention focused on Paris, where a weekly newspaper by the name of Charlie Hebdo has published crude caricatures of Prophet Muhammad. We understand that some of them are showing him naked. Now, this has sparked a fierce debate over the whole issue of freedom of speech, with the French foreign minister saying that there will be consequences regarding this publication, and he has condemned these caricatures being published in the first place. But we are hearing from the French prime minister that freedom of speech is something that is protected, although something that needs to be used responsibly. Nonetheless, Muslims in this country have been organizing themselves for a protest. So far, that protest has been banned, but it is likely to go ahead. We know also that they believe this is a calculated move and that it has nothing to do with freedom of speech. French police have positioned themselves outside the headquarters of this magazine. It's a magazine that was firebombed last year when it published an edition that mocked radical Islam. At the same time, at least 20 French embassies are on lockdown around the world for fear that there will be reprisal and revenge attacks.
And that was RT correspondent Paula Sleer.